guys, this is going to be a video on how to make a kaleidocycle. And before I get started, I'm just going to show you some of the supplies we'll be using. You'll just need a pencil to measure out some of your marks. And this paper is kind of like a card stock, so it's just thicker than printer paper. I would not use regular printer paper because it could work, but it's going to be flimsy and break after a little bit. And cardstock will last a lot longer. And then I've got a ruler, and it has centimeters, and I'm just going to show you guys that, remember, 0 on a ruler might not always be the end of the actual material. It might be like a line on the actual ruler itself. This one says 0, and not all of ours do in the classroom. This one, which I'm excited that I just found again. This one doesn't say 0, and what I'll probably use this one is for some fancy folding, like a folding bar. This is heavy duty metal. Okay, so we're gonna be measured in centimeters, and you can make a variety of sizes. And we're gonna make one that is like the middle size of what I've showed you in class. All right, so I'm gonna get started on the lower right side. And for the middle size of a kaleidocycle, we'll be I'm gonna make my marks on the right side first, line up that 0. And the smallest one that we made was 2. We made marks at 2 and 4 centimeters. So we're gonna make them double that, and we're gonna make a mark at 4 and 8. All right. And this part of the kaleidocycle for the small one was to 12 centimeters, so this one's going to 24. And all I need is a few, I'm gonna do 3 marks, and they just need to be 8 centimeters apart. So I've got 0 down here, 24 centimeters. I'm gonna make my first mark at 0, and then 8, and 16. All right, so that sets up the side and the bottom. My next step is to make a couple more marks at 4 and 8. And I just try to look over the top here and see if this looks like a right angle. So it's not all tilted. You just want to try to keep it as perpendicular to this part of the paper as much as you can. So we just want this to look straight and not bent. And I'll make a mark at 0 and 4 and down here. Zero and 4, and one more. 0, 4. All right. The next step, that's all the measuring. The next step is going to be making those lines. Making the lines. So this will get drawn down here. And you can see sometimes it takes a second to line up. Okay, and then make one long line going down this way. You want to try to be precise with it because your measuring needs to be right, your folding needs to be done correctly for this whole really cool paper origami toy to work. All right, so we do one more side in this direction, and then we're about to switch directions with our lines. So now we'll draw lines going back this way. One there. A line going from here, crossing that one and down, and one at this point, and I'm drawing it to the corner of the paper here. Boom. And here. Okay. That is almost all of the measuring, except we need to finish up our diamonds at the top. So let me switch over to centimeters. Here, let's see. For the small one, we went up by 2 centimeters, so this one will be 4. So distance of 4 centimeters there. And then we do that down here as well. Make a mark at 0. And then one more of those. All right, and then with these dots, you just draw a line down to the rest of the flat design. You can find templates for this online, but it's so much cooler to do on your own. It's really not that hard to draw. Plus it makes us measure in centimeters, which is something that we might do a lot more of in Canada and not here, because centimeters are a part of the metric system. All right, so the way I draw it is we're going to use everything over here in the corner. And then this is a flat side. And with a little open space, we're going to make glue tabs. So when I make glue tabs, I am just going to make a couple of trapezoids where I can put some glue on later. And these I can kind of adjust. I'm just like free drawing these on. I can make them a little shorter. I can cut them with scissors later if they don't fit. I can just like cut them a little bit. So those will probably work. And that is the completed net. Yay! All right, guys, so I've got the net finished. We're about to cut it out. I just want to point out that we need these 3 sections here. Sometimes when people cut out the shape, maybe they think it's funny that there's some bumps there, so they cut these out also, and it's not a part of the final thing, and then it's totally messed up. So we're just gonna cut along this whole edge and not cut anything else away. Cut. And then I need to cut out this little triangle here. to split up the glue tabs into 2 individual tabs. This cardstock we might do something with, so that's why I was awkwardly cutting it, because I didn't want to like tear it away, which I do sometimes when I'm cutting stuff. And here is where we fold, all right? All right, so we're about to start to fold it, and I'm gonna fold with the paper facing up this way with all the lines. I think it's easier to fold when you can like fold on these lines. In the end though, because we're gonna be drawing on these, the way I want this to be assembled is I'm gonna try to have the pencil lines on the inside of the finished Kaleidocycle. So my first step for folding is I'm gonna fold on all of these lines this way, and then I'll switch directions and we'll go this way. And that's the main folding step of the whole thing. So this is a way to fold it. And then run your fingers through and crease it. You can also have a ruler down and fold over the ruler as a way to kind of get that initial fold in, but I would still crease it. All right, this is a little bit quicker for me, but it's not always the most precise way to fold. All right, so I'm done. You can see 4 creases on the paper. Now I'll do it the other way. Now you see all those diamonds. The next folding step is I need to crease and fold down the middle of these rows wherever there's a whole diamond. Anywhere there's a whole diamond, it needs to be creased in half. So for this, I will use, I'm going to start trying it with this. This step helps the whole thing be flexible later because you're asking the paper to do a lot in order to spin the way it will in the end. So this crease helps it come together in the end. And I will need to go back and kind of crease these with the tips of my fingers. The last folding step is to fold these 3 diamonds down. So this point will go to this intersection there, where there's an X. Might be a little hard to see, but if you were doing it, you would see it. All right, now the whole thing can assemble It's gonna kind of form like a coil or a tube right now. Now remember, I want the blank side to be on the inside of the finished Kaleidocycle. I don't want to have to deal with these pencil lines. I don't want to see them. So in our case, we're going to assemble it like this. Which means I'll fold these diamonds over on this side. And crease the diamonds down this way to make it a little more flexible. You can use several different kinds of glue for this. I don't think glue stick is the best. We've used Elmer's glue and PVA glue in the classroom. I've never tried Aleene's glue before, but it's just, I've used this a lot with fabric. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't work with paper, but I do prefer the PVA glue because I feel like it sticks quickly and it's also flexible in the end. And you guys might know PVA glue from, it's like a good bookmaking glue. Alright, so just kind of initially like see, alright, is the paper gonna do what I want it to do? If you've made one and it's not forgiving, you might need to like crease some of your folds. Again. And what's gonna happen here is, again, we're gonna be making that kind of coil or tube shape. And I'm just like overlapping these whole diamond sections that we folded in half. Those are the pieces that will then overlap with those triangles down here, and you'll put glue on these triangles and the whole diamonds will overlap and form a very cool, reminds me of like a snake. Alright. And if we've measured correctly and folded well, then it should form a nice even tube. So I'm using a palette knife at home because that's what I have. Did not have a Q-tip in front of me. We're just aiming for kind of like a uniform amount of glue, even a smooth, even layer. And I like to glue all three of these down at once because there's kind of a trick to making it stick. So once you overlap these, I'll do one and kind of let it sit in place for now. I'll overlap the second one. And then I'll overlap the third one. And look at this. I like to kind of hold it together in its final form because oh no. This is bad news, guys. This is when you get like glue in your fingers and you like rub it on the back or whatever else you're like gluing, and it just turns into like a black mess. So hopefully that'll wipe away. And if it didn't, because this is cardstock, maybe you could take like a damp Q-tip to it and like wipe it away later. We'll have to see. But I like to hold it like this because it'll help dry all the three areas we just glued. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish it up. I'm gonna put glue on the glue tabs on the outside of the glue tabs. And I'm gonna go ahead and put them in the end and give that, let me try to get away some of the extra, If you can get away some of the glue while it's wet and not mess around with it, you might be able to avoid some of that black mess. And I'm going to try to just give this area a pinch. Okay, and if you pinch that a little bit and then just like set this aside to dry, once it's totally dry, you can start to like spin it. Okay, if you spin it while it's wet, it's gonna come apart at the glue tab area probably. So let it be. We've also figured out in class, if you use a little piece of blue painter's tape here, it'll just help keep this sealed, and then you can like take off the painter's tape later, because painter's tape is made to pull off cleanly. All right, we're gonna let that dry and then come back to it. All right, so it's been like just been a short time, and it has mostly dried. And right now I'm just like adding some different colored edges to each side to just like add a little, to kind of show you one way it can be worked with artistically. You can do a variety of different designs on this kind of form. You can do designs on it while it's flat. And if you do designs on, you can do designs on it while it's flat and then like see really amazing results when it all folds up. Right now, we're working on a lesson where you can turn it into like a flip book kind of storyteller too. So you can, it's like a blank canvas, you can do a lot of things with it. And let's see, I'll do one more just to show you that there's 4 sides. It gives this one some vibrance at each end of each side. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is, I mean, such a satisfying kind of thing to play with. So enjoy and see what kind of different designs you might want to do on each side. You can work on it while it's flat. You can work on it while it's in its 3D form like this. The only thing I haven't wrapped my head around is how to draw on it while it's flat and then have the pictures look like, I don't know, like a face in the end. I don't know how all 3 meet in the end. But if you just do random designs, the same thing on each side, then you'll get a really cool result in the end. All right. But that is the finished Kaleidocycle. Thanks for watching, and I hope you really enjoy this really neat paper origami toy.